If you have any kind of online business selling your knowledge or your services in any capacity, there is a storm coming for our industry and it is going to sweep away so many people. Like, people are actually going to go out of business unless they're prepared. This video and the series that we're currently in is here to save you from this, prepare you, and actually put you in a position where you can thrive through this storm. You are watching part 2 of this series right now, and if you haven't watched part 1, this video won't make any sense, so you need to go back and check that one out. There's a link in the description box. What you are witnessing right now is a backdoor leaked video from my $20,000 coaching client workshop, where I broke down some of this stuff and I felt I had a duty of care to share this with you. If you have courses, coaching, consulting services, you run events, you're building social media profiles, if you don't have the information in this video and in part 1 and in part 3 that's coming, you're going to get left behind. But if you do and you prepare well, you're going to thrive. So without further ado, go back and check out part 1 if you haven't, where I share what these changes are, what this storm is, and then how you can start to prepare for it. And this video picks up where we left off, where now we're going to talk about the effects of this on traffic generation, the game of running paid ads, building social profiles, podcasting, speaking engagements. The whole game has changed yet again. We're going to roll straight into that clip right now. So sit back, take some notes, grab a cuppa, and let's do this. So how are we responding to this in terms of getting your house in order? Okay, getting your house in order. Well, I want to talk about offers, branding, operations, and then you. So 4 things, the different stages of the get your house in order. I just want to talk about how we're responding to these changes in the marketplace, AI, but also the fact that trust is low and skepticism is high, and the fact that we've got competition in the marketplace too. So if you're taking notes, first, offers. How are we responding to this? Number 1, we're seeing a rise in people who have read a certain book by a certain Hormozy fella, and now they're creating offers in a certain way. And the way they're creating offers is very much doubling down on what's called a results-based guarantee, which is, come into my program, and if you don't get X result, I will do this for you. And it's oftentimes, I'll get you 20 high-ticket clients in the next month, or you don't pay, or I'll refund you in full, or I'll double your investment as a way of saying sorry. Has anyone seen those types of guarantees floating around? Yeah, you've probably been targeted it in the marketing space, and it's starting to come into other industries. I think for many of you around the room, you're safe from this for now. It's really in the marketing scene where it's like becoming a big thing. The problem with that is when you do those types of guarantees, you're putting the onus on you, not your client. So you're saying, I will do this for you. And so people come in with their arms folded and say, well, go on then, do it. You know, it's like you've got the wrong relationship with a client. And those businesses, they're basically putting a plaster on a wound, because the delivery of their program is so bad. But the way they're getting clients is by just dressing up the front end with an outrageous guarantee to get people to come in. And then once they're in, it's chaos. I've got friends of mine in this business that are doing millions a month. I say friends, mutual, kind of like, they're not in my close inner circle for this very reason, but there's like people I know that are doing this. The business is chaotic because they get loads of clients coming in the front door. Terrible experience. And now you've got all these hoops they got to jump through, and you roll out the scroll of things that they had to do to get their refund, you know, and it's a complete mess. You've got people disputing, refunding, and you've just got a business that doesn't feel good, right? So how are we going to compete with this? Well, we can either compete by doing the exact same thing, saying this is just where the market's going, this is what people are doing, and so I'm going to have to just do this kind of outrageous guarantee to just match where the market's at, or we can respond differently. And I suggest we respond differently, because if you do the first option, it's similar to the whole competing on price conundrum that's been going on since the beginning of business, right? Where your competitor charges this, so you go, well, I need to be competitive on price, so I'm going to match. And so then that competitor goes, oh, well, we better drop a little bit and be slightly cheaper so people pick us. And then you go, oh, I better do the same. And it's just a race to the bottom until your margin runs out and you go out of business, right? So we don't want to do that. We don't want to say, right, everyone in the industry is doing this with their guarantee, so I'll just do the same thing. And then I'll have a crappy business on the back end that doesn't feel good and is chaotic. Or we can respond differently. What I suggest we do is that we build more brand equity, meaning that we are so good on brand and value that people are connecting with us, and it's that's repairing the trust bridge. Not having them walk across still a wobbly bridge because our guarantees sounded so good, only for them to turn back and realize they've just done that treacherous walk again that they told themselves they wouldn't do it.
Instead, I want to make sure that my brand equity is super high. And here's the kicker, that I win the customer or the client on the relationship and the trust that I've built, over a guarantee, right? And I think AdCon is a great example of this. When you were in the room at AdCon, I had a choice to make. Am I gonna follow what the market's doing, but I'm not gonna feel good about it? It's gonna feel unauthentic. Or shall I focus on just doing a cracking 3-day event where people really get to know me, my team, what we're about, our values? I think when you saw that room and you saw the experience we created, for those of you that were there, you probably felt like, okay, I get the brand. Like, I get what they're trying to achieve. I get their voice, their story. Like, I get it. And then when I made an offer, it didn't have a crazy guarantee in it. Like, it just didn't. I basically just said, like, here's what I got. I think it's really, really good. I think it's really going to help you. We've got these incredible bonuses. And if you want to take that leap of faith and trust, then come on in, and we'll take really good care of you. And of course, here you are, a room full of people that took that offer. So what I learned from that, because that offer did over £1 million, okay? Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Well, thanks for clapping me, but it only happened because you said yes. So thank you. Thank you, Robert. Thank you. No, but I really appreciate that. But no, it did £1 million in that presentation, and here you are. And I look at that and I go, what's the takeaway there? The takeaway is that you can still get great conversions, find great clients, and I mean that. Everyone in here, I really enjoyed those Zoom sessions that we did. And my team tell me all the time how much they enjoy working with you. We found really good people. And you'll connect more over the next 3 days, and you'll realize that everyone here is just a nice person doing cool stuff and just want to get ahead and do great things in business. So we found great clients, we made some great money, and it all felt good. I didn't have to do any of the weird marketing shenanigans stuff. So the lesson is that we can repair that trust bridge with value and with relationship, and people will still walk over it. It's almost like there's a shift from using just marketing strategy to shoehorn someone into making the decision to move forward, and moving more towards, we just front load with so much value and such great branding that they ask. It's like that difference, isn't it? It's like they make the decision, I want to work with you, as opposed to you having to get them through, jump through these hoops and persuading them on the phone to make a decision with you. We don't want that. We want someone that's coming in because they've made that decision that's what they want to do. And I just kind of see that difference. It's like, do we compete on guarantees, or do we provide value, build relationship, create a feeling that makes someone go, I'm in, So that's one big thing. And then in terms of how we incorporate AI into the delivery once we have these clients.
Hey, real quick, if you're enjoying this content so far, I understand there's a lot to keep up with. We've got notes for this whole presentation, what you've seen already and the stuff to come. If you want the notes from this session that we handed out to our clients that were in the room, just DM me on Instagram, say the word notes, and my team will send those to you free of charge.
I guess it's also important for us to just talk about this. One of my friends, anyone heard of Ryan Dice? Anyone know Ryan Dice? Okay, he's one of the OGs in our space. He's kind of in that Russell Brunson, Frank Kern, circle from the very beginning. He's talking about this. If that box there represents where your client is at currently right now, and they come in and they join your program, and then this is your client popping out the other side, and they're very, very happy, although you can't see it, put a crown on their head. They're feeling really good. They got the result. They're outside the other side of your program. There's this kind of 10, 80, 10 concept. And this is what we should probably be starting to think about, because this is where it's going. So let's start to prepare the way. What this means is the 10 and the 10 is bookending everything you do with human interaction. And AI is the 80 in the middle, helping you to service your clients and do a great job. So what this means is, even where AI is taking over and replacing jobs and replacing tasks, and it's not slowing down, there is still this need for human connection. And there's that value that comes in with that. So don't hear what I'm not saying over the course of this morning. It's not that AI is going to take absolutely everything and we're going to have to figure out, where do we go from here? How do I have a great business? No, it's the brand and the value that's going to have people gravitate towards you. And then they want that human interaction from you and your team eventually. And it's just that AI is alleviating so many of the delivery tasks in the middle. And then you bookend it on the other side with critiquing what it's done, made sure that it's actually servicing your clients properly, and that output then you deliver to your clients. Does that make sense? So it's bookending at either side. Now, this doesn't mean their time in the program. This doesn't represent, if it's a 6-month program, this doesn't represent they come in, you give them an onboarding call, then they don't hear from you for 5.5 months, and then you just book in the other way. This is the strategy of every little task that you do within the business. Does that make sense? So eventually, we're not there yet. We're trying and we're testing it, but we're not there yet, and we won't do it until it is actually perfect. But like, when you submit like webinar slides and webinar funnels and things, we can train the AI on everything that John Penberthy has ever taught. All the systems. I can put in all of my mastermind recordings and every bit of content I've ever recorded and all the feedback we've ever given clients before. We can load in hundreds of coaching calls, and we can train it to deliver advice on this webinar slide critique better than anyone on my team probably could, and we could do it within 2 minutes, as opposed to you having to wait a couple of days or a week for my team to find time to look at it and get back to you. Do you kind of see where I'm going with this? So then they submit the webinar slides. Great, here's what you need to do. Human interaction. You're going to fill out this form and then this and then this, and we're going to get back to you within 24 hours with an output. All right, and then you speak to them and you deliver it. Hey, here's your review. And AI was able to alleviate so much of that. So the 10-80-10, you just want to be thinking about that. Where can I start to implement this? Right now, it might be 30-30-40. We just got to, did that math make sense? I told you I failed at school. So 30-30-40, I think that's right. And so maybe it starts there. And then you just start to widen that gap, the more comfortable you get with it. But of course, you must make sure that the delivery is what it should be. So you're only starting to do this on tasks that it can actually do right now. Still tracking with me? I told you we were going to go through a lot, and we still got a lot. And I've got an activity I want us to do as well. So let's keep going. Branding. I'll do this one a little bit quicker. When it comes to landing clients, securing borrow it audiences, and accumulating opportunities in your market, branding is going to be key. So this goes beyond logos and just the name of your business and domain name. It goes far further than that. It's how you're representing yourself online. It's consistency in the way you talk and visually how you look. It's the stories that you tell. It's everything. The brand is all wrapped up in loads of different things. And one way that you can all be utilizing this now, if you haven't already, is actually making sure that you've got a website that supports your sales funnels. Now, don't rush to it, because again, you've got to take the things from the next 3 days that are relevant to you right now and that you need. So, you might write that down on your notepad right now and think, gosh, I've got so much to do, John. They tell me to build a website. No, I'm saying that would be a useful tool. So maybe add it onto the list and then prioritize it where it seems most appropriate. But having a website that can support your sales funnel means that you're sending all of your direct traffic, buy it, build it, borrow it, is sending that to your sales funnel. But just as people are finding you again and searching for you, having a website where they can organically just come across you, look around, see what you're about. It's a different feel to a sales funnel, and it's good to have that as well. It never used to be like this. I made my first million online, in fact, a few million, without a website. I didn't have a website. I just had I had a webinar registration page. That's what I had for a very long time. And the only reason, this is the true story, the only reason I launched a website in the beginning is not because I needed it for the business, but because I started to build a team and hire people. And when you're going out there and putting job ads out, it asks you for your company URL. And I'm like, but I don't really have one. What do I put there? I was like putting in webinar registration pages, thinking, I don't think this really represents the company. So I actually built a website the very first time for recruitment. I was like, the people that are trying to work for me need to know what I'm about. But now it's like it's mandatory. We need to have a place people can find us. And my recommendation to you is use a website like a sales funnel, meaning when they come to your website, still have the extra pieces, still have the about me page and some client stories and like the different, like the origin story of the business or whatever it is you want to have on your website. It's fine. But make sure you're utilizing it like a sales funnel, which means we are funneling people to the next step. The thing that's been bad about websites for a long time is there's no clear next step when they land on a website. There's just a jumble of information. It's just loads of things to look at and do. And even if you feel like, oh, I quite like the sound of this person in this company, it's like, what do? Do I press the contact us button there and it pulls up a form and I send you an email? And like it's all the old school stuff. So what we need to do is have a mention on the website leading people into your conversion vehicle. That's what needs to happen. come to your website, they look around, you've got some cool stuff there, great. And then there is there's a big mention that's difficult to avoid seeing, and it just says, next step, or want to learn from me, or, want to get my free training, click here and come over to my free masterclass where I share this, and this. So we're using it like a sales funnel, funneling people from the website back into your funnel. Also on brand, I'd highly recommend that you start to think about doing this. This is what we're doing, and this is what many of my friends in the industry are doing as well. I kind of call it the it's like a water wheel domain name. Okay, a water wheel domain name. You've probably seen these water wheels where you've got a little thing that's sending water down here, and then it's spinning the wheel. You know what I'm talking about, right? Typically, when we have a webinar or a virtual event or something of this nature, we send traffic to it until the webinar's done, right? The date has come up, and then that domain name or that link does nothing now. Or it just says, sorry, you missed your chance, webinar's expired, or you've missed the date, whatever the case may be. That's a dead page that's doing nothing for the business. There's this thing called trickle traffic. And trickle traffic is, let's say that this was the current webinar, and you were sending all this traffic into this webinar, and now the webinar's happened, it's moved on, and it's a new bucket that's come over. There is trickle traffic that's still coming to that link. It just happens. There's people that clicked the links in your emails a little bit too late. The webinar was yesterday, and they forgot about it, and then they saw an email from you reminding them, and then they clicked on the link the next day. Or some people leave the link open in their browser window, right? And they forget about it because they've got 251 tabs open at the same time. And then when they eventually do their 2-week ritual of closing down all the ones that they don't need anymore, they come across like, oh, this was actually quite cool. And if there's nothing on the page, it's just a dead page, they move on. There's all this trickle traffic that's coming in. So what does this mean? We want to make sure we've always got something going on your domain name that you're sending traffic to. And so when that webinar's finished, automatically the next one comes in, which is the date for the next webinar. And if you don't have a date for the next webinar, if it's a live one and you don't know when you're going to do it again, then at least some kind of opt-in page. Hey, you missed the webinar. I may do this again. If you want to get on the waiting list for our next masterclass, then opt in here and you'll be the first to know. At least a waiting list. Like, find a way to be building a list from all of that trickle traffic that you would otherwise miss. And so where we can implement this even more so is, rather than that just being the link that you were driving traffic to, we actually start to build a branded domain name, a branded event. This is where I think it's going, and it's not going to be difficult to implement. It used to be that we would do a webinar, and there's no real like the company logo might just be your business, and your business is hosting a webinar. Like, that's best case scenario right now. It's like AdClients up there in the top, and we're doing a webinar. Where we're going now, and where this would actually serve you quite well, I think, is branding the webinar itself. Like, the training becomes its own brand, its own thing. And it feels so much more special, so much more real, and puts a value on it that just a webinar just doesn't have. So I'll show you a couple of examples. If you can share my screen. Well, actually, I'll give you one example here of where's it gone? So AdCon, for example. So adcon.co.uk, we were using that page for selling tickets last year, and then the event happened, and we made a big mistake the previous year. So not the AdCon we just had, but AdCon 2024. When the event came around, everyone on my team, including me, we just forgot about the domain name. So we closed it down. We said tickets are sold out. No opt-in, no nothing. It was just a really simple, haphazard thought of like, we better close the page down because tickets are sold out. And then it just sat there for months and months and months. And then I went and checked. We had thousands of clicks to that page. Thousands of clicks to that page in a few months. I was like, this is so frustrating because I've missed out on so much traffic, so much opportunity. So what we did this year is, when tickets sold out and the event then happened, we rolled onto this. That's just a simple page. We didn't put a huge amount of thought into this, but just there's something there. It's a waiting list. We just said, AdCon 2026 is coming. Are you in? A video highlighting the event we just had and how cool it was, and then an opt-in. We have had, since AdCon, over 800 people opt onto the waiting list. Over 800 people. We're not driving any active traffic to this page. It's just simply trickle traffic. because the domain name is the domain name, and there's always something happening on there to capitalize on that. Does that make sense? Yeah, really, really important that we do this. And then, of course, I was sharing that we can do branded training. So we've got, this is my friend Adam Stott. How many of you have seen Adam's training in the membership area? Yeah, good stuff? Yeah, good stuff? I think he's amazing. I've learned a tremendous amount from Adam. So he's got this event called Six Figure Presenter Summit. And just by giving it a name, giving it a logo, it suddenly feels a bit more real. It feels like an event. It's a virtual event as opposed to just a webinar. Although it is just a webinar, we're dressing it up. We're making it sound bigger. Russell Brunson's actually good at doing this. And so he's partnered with McCall Jones. And she's spoken at Funnel Hacking a few times. They've just launched a new webinar together. And again, it's just a webinar. There's nothing different about the content and the funnel. Like, that's all the same. But they've branded it Offer Secrets. And look at the domain name, offersecrets.com. So the domain name is now starting to become a brand. The event is branded. They've got a logo for it. And if you forget about, that event, there is a chance that you go, it was called Offer Secrets. Let me just have a guess at the domain name. I found it. So you're getting even more trickle traffic now because you've just, you've made yourself memorable, And Russell did a really good job with this with his Selling Online event. Has anyone seen ads for Russell's Selling Online event? Anyone? Only a few of you. I thought it'd be more than that. But anyway, so he's launched this event that they're spending like 10 or 15 grand a day promoting this one webinar, this one event. And but the domain name is sellingonline.com. And when he's in his ads now, he's talking about, click the link or go to sellingonline.com. And that name, that logo, that domain name pops up all over the place, to where now, if we talk about Russell's event in like my Titan mastermind, for example, and we're like, what's Russell up to? Because we're always snooping on him just to see what he's up to. It's like, well, we all just know it's sellingonline.com. We just go there and see what he's currently up to. So we need to start to emulate that as well. So that all that traffic that we're running, all of that money that we're spending and energy and time putting the content together, they're actually capitalizing on the trickle traffic with the water wheel domain name. I've coined the phrase. Make sense? Okay. Couple more things, and then we're going to break for something. So next thing is operation. Okay, your operation. How are we responding to these things we talked about? Well, this isn't sexy or attractive, but it is just a reality. You need to stay lean as a business. You need to stay lean as a business. Be very careful that you don't bloat on expense. Chris, you said you appreciate the honesty, and that's something that we do in all of our masterminds, and you're in our community now. Like, I found myself in this spot. And I found myself in this spot a few times where it's like you're growing and scaling the business and you get excited about scale and you lose track and you bloat too much. Your expense gets too big, payroll's too big, all the software that we're using. Do you know my software bill? I did an audit, Pete. We sat in the boardroom the other day and I said, we always put this task off because when are we going to sit down and just look at $97 a month subscriptions and like spend time like culling them? But in the end, I was like, the bill itself is just too big. So I think it's a high value task for us to sit for an hour and cull. How much do you think my software bill every month was? Shout it out. What do you reckon? 6 grand, 10 grand. Okay, you're actually pretty close, but I kind of alluded to it being higher. But like, it was about 12 grand. 12 grand a month. Just on little tasks and thing. It's like, ugh. So, it's like just bloated, So we sat down. It's like, this has to be a priority. So we sat down for an hour, me and my leadership team. We looked at the list. We went cull, keep, cull. Like, we just went down the list, But I never should have got that bloated. We should have had eyes on it. We should have been more careful. And the same can happen in all the different areas of your business. So just be really, really careful that you're staying lean now. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, down to it.
How much you get it down to? Well, it's a work in progress because we did this literally, Pete, when was it? 2 days? It's Friday. Literally did it on Friday. So made that list and we've assigned, an action to that thing. Because for some softwares, it's not that we can just cancel it. It's that we need to like downgrade or like shrink how we were using them and drop to a lower plan. So I think we got it from 12 to about 7 or 8. And that's phase 1. And then phase 2 is then we go again. Yeah, see if we need it. So there, and I guess ties in with that is eliminate mess in the business and track everything. Just keep an eye on like, how's your business looking? Is it bloated? Let's keep an eye on that. Is it messy? Let's keep an eye on that. Is there just stuff going on that just has always gone on? Some of you might be thinking, well, John, you're coming from a business that's doing what you're doing and I'm much smaller. So is the mess still going to be there? Absolutely. The mess doesn't go away. Mess can be how you spend 4 hours of your day and you're just spending it on like stupid stuff that just is not furthering the business forward. And so that's mess. Let's get rid of it. Let's eliminate it. Sometimes the things that you think you need to keep around in the business because you've just always done it, the things you think you have to keep around, when you just eliminate it, it solves itself with just a little, because it forces you to spend time on like finding a solution. So it's really, really important you do that. Another one, protect cash. It's just my recommendation. Protect cash in this next season. You know, I remember when I was when I first started coming into money, making some great money. I was early 20s when I made my first million. I think I was 20 years old, and it got to a point where I was traveling, having fun, like I was going to different conferences, and it just felt good. I remember at 21, I looked at my bank account, opened up my Lloyd's account, and I logged in. I was like, "There's 12 grand in it." I was like, "Where's it all gone?" I just had like a moment of like, "What in the world? Like, where's it gone?" Yeah, it's software. I was like, where the heck's all the money gone? I just realized I'm just not managing this cash very well at all. I'm not looking after it. I just don't think that would fly now. Like with how fast the industry is moving, and like we're at a point where like I can't overstate this. You need to be lean, nimble, and able to pivot. Like I really want you to get that when you leave this room and you go back to your businesses and what you're attempting to do. If you're a really early stage startup, I really want you thinking like that. It's like, how can I stay lean? How can I stay nimble? Meaning I can move. I'm not glued to anything, and I can pivot because I'm nimble and I'm not like fixed. I don't have all this crap I'm just like fixed to. Because I'm nimble, it means I can pivot. And you are going to need to pivot. And if you do that, it's going to be awesome. You're lean, so you're small, you're on your feet, and you're pivoting whatever you need to, and your business, and you will just be able to navigate all of these changes. You with me? So that's where we need to be. And of course that's what I'm saying. So you need cash to do that. It's like when you need to pivot, there's an opportunity. You don't want to like every time like, oh, can I afford to take this opportunity? Like you just want to be able to go, right, I built the war chest for this moment. You know, like that's where you need to be. Along with that, it's like before hiring anyone, you do just have to ask the question, could AI do this? Or is it on the AI roadmap? So do a quick bit of research. Is this even on the roadmap? Because what used to take 10 years to develop in tech is taking 6 months now. Like we'll come to questions in a minute. It's just so fast now. So like if you're thinking about hiring someone right now, what you don't want to do is find yourself in a position where after that person's 6-month probation period, you actually no longer need them. And then you feel terrible. Because I'm sure you will care about people. Like I take it really seriously. When someone takes a job with me, I'm like, I take that really seriously. It's like their livelihood, their career. You know, you don't want to find yourself in a position where like you're making those difficult situations. So now, before hiring someone, just could AI do it, or is it on the roadmap, or could a VA do this for me so that I can stay nimble, not tied to another person on payroll, and just be thinking about that. So that's the operation, and that's the big takeaway there. Final one is you. You. There's a few things that we can do to figure out how we can match these changes in the marketplace. Number one is if you haven't done this or haven't done this in a while, I would audit your time. I would actually prioritize just doing a fresh audit. I think that would be a really good use of everyone's time in the room. You know, you leave the event and it's one of the things you say like that was a priority. You scribble it down. I just want to audit your time. There's different ways that you can do this, but you could just make a note of just every hour of the day, just make a note. What was I working on? In that period of time. And if you give that a week, 2 weeks, you could go 3 or 4 weeks if you wanted to, but you'll start to get a really good picture. And by the way, here's the kicker. It will look different to your to-do list and it will look different to your calendar. So you can't go on those two. You can't say, let me look back on what my to-do list was over the course of the last week, because that was ever changing. You woke up in the morning and said, I'm going to do that today. And then you didn't, did you? You moved to the next day, right? And you can't look at your calendar because your meetings are constantly changing or overrunning or underrunning or an emergency hit. So you actually have to do that. You have to just every hour, what was I actually doing? And then you can go back and do that. There's a guy called Dan Martell who's got a book called Buy Back Your Time. It's quite a good book, actually. It's a really good book. And if you do this, he recommends in 15-minute increments, but I prefer an hour. I prefer doing less than I need to do if I can. And you could just highlight, like, what was it? A green task? Was it something that actually lit you up and was exciting? Was it an amber task? It's like, it's kind of like draining me a little bit, but I should probably keep doing it. And is it red? Does that need to go? That's just draining me of energy. And then you have like a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks of just a traffic light system. And then you've now got your mission sheet. I eliminate the red. I have to eliminate the red, you know? So audit your time. Audit your time. And as I was mentioning there with that book, Buy Back Your Time. It's a really good book, that one. It's called Buy Back Your Time. It's a blue book. You can't miss it. It's really good. The idea there is not just hiring because you think you need to hire or replacing certain tasks because you think it's what the business needs. It's actually replacing you. It's replacing the things that you don't need. Because otherwise we could generalize, couldn't we, in this room? And we could go, when you hit this spot right here, you now need to hire an agency to manage your ads because you shouldn't be doing that anymore. Or you get to this amount of revenue or this amount of calls on your calendar, and that's when you hire your first salesperson. I don't think we can get close, but I don't think we can quite just generalize like that. Because I could look on one side of the room and some of you might absolutely love the ads, and like that's where you geek out. You're like, data, numbers, tracking, ads, like that's just fun to me. I need to get off the phone. Whereas this might be someone over here where you're just like, I can't think of anything worse. Looking at numbers, managing ads, that is disgusting. But guess what? I actually quite like talking to people. I actually quite enjoy. So your priority is to hire an ads person and stay on the phone, and someone else's is to get off the phone and do the ads. We'll come to questions in just a moment, if that's okay. So you've got to buy back your time, not just hire because you think that you need it. Here's a resource for you that I did recently, and I found this very, very interesting. Have any of you heard of something called the Clifton Strengths Test? Clifton Strengths. By show of hands, who's done a Clifton Strengths Test? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so if you could share my screen, please. This is the website that you're looking for. Okay, Gallup, and you basically you go through and you answer 200 questions. He's like 200 questions. Oh, next. 200 questions. It takes 30 minutes to do it. It costs $60. It takes 30 minutes to do it, and it basically gives you 200 pairs of questions. So it presents a scenario on one side, a scenario on the other side, and you either strongly agree with one or the other, or it's neutral in the middle, or kind of agree. And so then every set of questions you say, which one is more like me? And then do I strongly agree, kind of agree, or are these two questions kind of neutral? And I don't know the logic behind it. There must be so many possible outcomes and endings. But based on those 200 questions, it reads your soul. It reads your soul. It knows everything about you. It knew me better than I knew myself. Like really. And I'll tell you how I know that to be true. It's because here, I'll be very vulnerable with you. This is my output, okay? So it gives you your top 5 strengths, then your top 10, and then it gives you a bunch of other categories that it gives for everybody. And these are the 34 core strengths and where you rank. Now, why am I being vulnerable? Well, because empathy is 28 on my list. And I said to my wife, I was like, I'm sure am I not empathetic? She's like, no, I get it, that's right. I was like, no, and all the blue ones are like being good with people, and that's all down the bottom. So like, apparently I can't make friends, and you shouldn't like me, and I'm not empathetic. But when I first looked at this list, I challenged it. I looked at that list of 34, and I went, that can't be right, because that thing there, like I'm definitely good at that. But you read down this like 40-page report, and it tells you everything about you. And I was like, oh, that's right. And interestingly enough, and on a serious note, and I won't get into it now, but like the things that I thought I was empathetic, like the things that I do that I thought was empathy, actually it teaches me, oh no, that's a different strength, and you just mistook it for empathy. And I agree with it. I'm like, oh, that actually makes so much sense. So why is this helpful? Number one, because it's not just interesting. This will help you to understand how you work, and therefore the tasks that you should be focusing on, and then the tasks that should be the first ones to go when you can hire a team. Make sense? First ones to go when you can hire a team. So check this out. At the very top, I've got green for 3, because we've got 4 categories. You can see them over on the right-hand side. You've got execution in purple. You've got influencing in orange. You've got relationship building, which apparently I suck at, in blue. And then you've got strategic thinking in green. So those are the 4, and all of the different strengths fall under one of those. And so I'm as green as they come. Okay, it's strategic as my number 1, it's analytical as my number 2, and it's learner as number 3. I just want to consume information all the time. Now, why is this a problem for me? Because obviously it's a strength and we know that, but why is it a problem? It's because like this makes me a relentless perfectionist. Because I just want to think and analyze and learn and plan and strategize, and I don't execute. and it slows me down. And so for me, executing is really hard. I have to work really hard at it. I also have to work really hard at focus. Focus is 26 out of 34. I'm so easily distracted, you know? And like the key purple ones that I need, like are down on my right-hand side, you know? They're not in my core strengths. And so once I know that about myself, then I know my strengths, and I know then the help that I need. What do I need? I need executors, implementers around me. So, you know, that's where if you're hiring VAs, you know, you're hiring people that can just do the stuff for you. Like you've got the idea. Well, for me, I've got the idea. Now someone can just go do it for me. But for others of you, you might need different levels of help. And so if I scroll down to this last page here, you know, kind of like brings everything together and shows me where I am on the 4 categories. Obviously, strategic thinking is my key. Executing comes next, and then it's influencing, and then it's the old relationship building, right on the far end. So that's me. So now when I'm hiring people and I'm building my team, I'm finding people that can actually support me and help me. All right. Now, so I would suggest that you do it. $60. I think it'd be $60 well spent. It's really, really cool. And then you just got to understand in the beginning, it's the hustle phase. So you do just have to kind of do everything, learn everything, figure it all out. But this is then going to help when you start to add people onto that. And you can start to do like lifestyle planning. You know, it's like, okay, I'm here now, and these are the tasks that I'm currently doing, but I don't want to be doing them forever. And so how can I start to get the things off my plate that I don't want? And you're planning the future version of the business. And so you can think, how do I want to spend my days? What lights me up? What drags me down? And it's okay to not want the things that a lot of stuff on social media tells you that you probably should, as an entrepreneur, as a business. So for example, I just do not want, in any sense of the word, a Hormozy lifestyle. Just don't want it. The idea of having a camera in my face all the time, like working 15-hour days every single day relentlessly, not having time for friends and family and hobbies and fun and my kids, and like that's just like so far from what lights me up. So if I was trying to be like that, I would just like life would suck. But for Alex, I'm sure he enjoys it, or he's kidding himself, but like maybe he enjoys it. So for me, I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to design my life in a different way. And I guess I want to kind of bring this to a close with this. Some food for thought for you is we've got these kind of 4 core functions of the business, and you can, within reason, you can bring every task, everything you're doing to live in one of these categories. And so the first is ops, or we could also just put admin there when you're smaller. So ops and admin. You've then got marketing. You've got sales. And then you've got client delivery, okay? And so just think about these 4 and think about all the tasks that you're currently doing from within all 4 of these. And it's quite a simple exercise that you do. You just think about which of the tasks from each category do I want to eliminate? And you might find that 80% of the tasks that you enjoy actually live within one of those categories. So then your future goal and your planning is that's where I want to live. I want to live in that category there, and now I need help with all of the others. And if you're, let's say, this was actually something that Adam Stott taught me, and I found it really, really helpful, is if you're here right now, okay, and you're trying to get over here to the future version of your business, there's not an I at the end of that, see I can't spell. In the future version of your business, you've got this journey to undertake to get from here to here. So what's a really useful exercise is mapping out what's the future version of your business look like. There's a few key things I can just give you to help with this. Number one is income. So what's the income that you want to earn? You've got team. What does your team look like? Again, we're talking about the future dream scenario version of the business. How much are you earning? What's the income? How many team members have you got? We might put on here, what other ones did I have? Oh, I didn't put it on here. Never mind. Yeah, well, yeah, consistency. But I was thinking more kind of like lifestyle. Like what's the lifestyle that you want? How are you spending your time within the business? You might even put fame on here, because what's the level of fame that you want? It's actually an interesting thing to just think about. It's like, are you in this for any kind of fame? Because if you're not, then we need to just know that that's a future part of the business? If it is, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, you might say, Joe, actually, I do want to be recognized in my industry. I do want to be the go-to expert. I do want to get those speaking gigs, right? Then you do want a bit of fame, because with that fame then comes opportunities. So how much do you want? Do you want it to where you can't walk down the street anymore without someone recognizing you? Some of you might want that. There's nothing wrong with that. I actually know people, that's the goal. They just want to be famous. So it's like, okay, it's good for you. I actually find that a little bit awkward. I had someone come to me in a Pret in Canterbury recently, and oh, you're John Penberthy. And I'm like, oh, I do that thing where I put my eyes down. Oh, I talk to you about. So for me, that's like lower down on my list. But you just need to decide, what's the future version? Where are you now? Now, here's the kicker. You have to figure out what is all the mess that is currently here right now. Okay, what's all the stuff that's happening? And then you categorize it into two things. Okay, categorize it into two things. You've got lights you up, drags you down. So you just imagine all of the things that are currently happening, what lights you up, and you're making a list of all the things you do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and what are all the things that you're doing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis that is dragging you down. And just by visualizing this, you start to find, like, where in here all this dragging you stuff is keeping you from getting where you're trying to get to. You could actually make a third category, by the way, which is all the stuff that you're not able to do because this is taking up all of your time. So you could actually add a bonus column, which is, what's the stuff that you know you should be doing and you just never find the time to do it. Okay, you with me so far? Okay, one final step. Here's what you do. You categorize all of this, which is a summary of all of this, and you whittle it down to your three biggest blockers. Three biggest blockers. Your three biggest things that's stopping you from getting from where you are now to the future version of the business that you're after, right? And I'll give you some examples of what those blockers might be. It might be, biggest blocker number one is just you don't have the time to create the content that you want to create. That might be a blocker, for example. And that would be a combination of a bunch of these things. And you summarized it. Lights you up, getting in front of the camera, having a massive impact, providing as much value as I possibly can, shooting that Instagram reel when I have time to do so, getting on a stage and impact people. Like, you've got all these things that light you up, dragging you down. I'm always pulled away from the studio or the camera, or I've always got a half-baked project because I start my video and I just know that I'm like lacking creativity because I've got 12 emails on my mind that I must reply to straight away before noon. So you've got these things dragging you down, and you summarize a lot of that, and you look at it, you step back and you go, oh wow, that's just like, I just want to produce more content. I just want to get more time. So that's one of your biggest blockers, is like you haven't got the time to carve out for the content. Another one might be, a big blocker is team related. It's like, I'm just maxed out and I need some extra help. And then you identify, the specific team member that you might need. That would be the most ideal blocker to identify. Not just that you need team, but you've actually identified the one person that's going to be able to help with a bunch of this chaos. Yeah, so it's that one VA that's going to do that one thing. So that would be another blocker. And there's so you categorize it into three blockers. And that makes it just easier for you, because if you just map out all of this mess, you'll look at it and you'll go, oh, that's okay, that's interesting. And then you just forget about it. It's like categorizing it into your top three blockers. That's what's actually going to have you going, right, now I can just put it on a Post-it note. It's always in front of my eyes. I'm always seeing it, like those three things. Like, those are the things I need to do over the next few months, and I'll be able to get to where I'm trying to get to. So, was there anything else I wanted to share?
So that was part 2, and we need to complete the series so that you are fully prepared for all areas. Part 3 is here right now for you to check out, and if it's not quite there, it'll be uploaded in a couple of days. So subscribe to the channel, turn on the bell notification, and in part 3, we're going to talk about sales funnels and sales processes and how the game has changed there and how you can prepare. That rhymes. That was cool. I'll see you there.